IVM.
Welcome to The Origin of Things. Episode 31. A family business pivots and how. This is a story that starts with a very young boy who was given a huge responsibility. Shekha was only 12 when a massive job was given to him. Oh, no. Not something like guard your sleeping dad or fix the printer, as could be bestowed on today's barely teens, but the small task of ruling 24 villages. I suppose kids were thrown into the deep end of the pool back in the 15th century. Oh yeah, I should have probably mentioned that we are starting our story in 1445. Young Shekha himself was named after a Muslim priest named Sheikh Burhan, whom his parents are said to have sought prayers of intercession from. Young Shekha soon grew in prominence and stature, befriending many a chieftain, and, as was the manner of 15th century chieftain politics, crushed others who got in his way. By the time of his death in 1488, he had a magnificent empire in what is now Rajasthan. But his work was continued by his lineage, and 8 generations later, they had enough land for the then ruler, Shardul Singh, to divide his land into 5 to bequeath to his 5 sons. This came to be known as the Panch Pana, or 5 divisions, one of which was Khetri, which is where we will focus the rest of our attention on. It is in this Pancht Pana of Khetri that its then ruler, a gentleman called Thakur Samrat Singh Ji, decided to settle in a small village called Alsisar, named, apparently, after Alsi, the daughter of the farmer who had first settled there. So, just to recap, Thakur Samrat Singh Ji built his new castle in the small village of Alsisar, part of the kingdom of Khetri, which was one of the Panch Panas bequeathed by Shardul Singh. And just to recap all the way to the top, we are now 11 generations down from that 12-year-old ruler whose name became the entire area, Shekhawati. Let's focus on that castle that was built by Thakur Samrat Singh Ji. It went through a lot. Once the ruddy potential invaders were driven off, then came the bloody British. During British rule, the castle was bombarded by the Shekhawati Brigade, led by Colonel Forrester of the British Army, in their bid to restrain the mighty Shekhawats, who are known to be fearless warriors. A good portion of the castle was destroyed in this bombardment and, yes, was rebuilt after those buggers left the country and today blends tradition and modernity, one of the many once royal residences of the region to become a luxury hotel. But there's more history here. Legend has it that in 1893, it was the then king of Khetri, the descendant of all those impressive names, a man called Ajit Singh, that financed the trip of one Swami Vivekananda so that he could go to Chicago to attend the World Parliament of Religions. And it was the Maharaja who provided the Swami with the saffron robe and the turban that would become his signature. One of India's most enduring symbols, who was indeed born out of here. In fact, Swami Vivekananda called Ajit Singh his only friend on earth. It also turns out that Ajit Singh, the ruler of Khetri, was in constant communication with other luminaries, including Motilal Nehru, whose wife, Swarup Rani, it turns out, was from Khetri. So yes, Jawaharlal Nehru, the man who is to blame for everything up till 2014 in India, does in some way hail from this historic region. After its restoration in 2006, it's now a heritage hotel with all the trappings that come with one. A night rate of around 7,500 rupees, stunning architecture and luxurious interiors with Rajasthani motifs and antique interiors, cultural activities and sightseeing tours. As per the booking.com description, it has glowing reviews as well. For example, impressed with the upkeep of the property, the hotel gives a very good impression of the erstwhile royal lifestyle of aristocrats. The heritage property is well preserved, reads one on booking.com, reads another one on TripAdvisor. I felt like royalty staying in such a prestigious building. Indeed, as we move from the 1440s to the 2010s, the character of guests have changed as well. One assumes there are many fewer potential invaders and heads of states visiting, and more vacationers and those looking for a break from the, say, bustling city of Delhi, which is just a few hours' drive away. One such visitor, Smita, lost all hope that such a hotel even existed. Driving down from Delhi on a dark, desolate road way back in 2013 to meet a friend who was staying at the hotel. And lo and behold, they happened to meet the current occupant of the castle, which was, of course, still part residential to the royal family. That's right, Sheka and Shardul's descendants, still the royal family of Khetri, stayed in the same hotel, which you can book a night for on booking.com. Smita and her friend from Delhi were discussing, what they could do with the palace, and she randomly suggested one idea. And then the king of Khetri, in Smita's own words, cut me short quite abruptly. I thought I'd cross the line. He is sort of a prince and I barely knew him. But then he said, we can do it. Here in Alcisar. I was shocked. End quote by Smita. And so it happened. The very same year. And then the next. And then the next. Every year since. One of the reasons I decided to start The Origin of Things is that I love digging into the past and sometimes drawing needless connections that sound a lot more profound than they actually are. So when I'm drinking at TOOT in Lower Parel, I raise a glass to the land's previous occupant, arguably India's finest ever music venue, Blue Frog. Maybe the school I went to in Kochi. Maybe that land played a vital role in Kerala's history. Maybe the building in suburban Mumbai that I'm staying in could be traced back to the East India Company in some ways. Who knows? I love drawing out such stories and putting them together in a format for your enjoyment. And so it is here as well. When that 12-year-old became the de facto chief of 24 villages and have a thriving empire, who would have thought that a mere 568 years later, a chance encounter with his descendant of over 20 generations would make the historical family palace, Alcisar Mahal, the venue for one of India's finest music festivals, Magnetic Fields. It's only fitting that the descendant, Abhimanyu Alcisar, still the king of Khetri, once said, and pardon my Hindi, "Ghar ke andar rooj sangeet se aati hai." Music adds soul to your house. Whether 12-year-old Sheka was a fan of deep house and trance is not known, but I'm assuming he'd agree with the sentiment. See you next week for another Origin of Things story. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us and all our shows on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, that's Chuck_Gopal on Twitter and Chuck of All Trades on Instagram. All links in the show notes of this episode. See you next week.
I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. Before I tell you about some of the shows that we have for you this week, I really wanted to really point out the incredible efforts of our host and our team. We've been able to maintain most of our production schedule in this lockdown, which is going into 4 months now. And I couldn't be happier with the fact that our hosts and team have been able to just get all of this stuff out so incredibly well. So I just really wanted to call them out for that and thank them for their support in this time. And since I spent so much time talking about that and I want to get you out of here quickly, let me give you a quick update on a few shows that you should check out this week. On Siders, we had Amish Tripathi, really interesting discussion, both of them dive deep into history. Monty Panesar was on Edges and Sledges, another really cool show. On Advertising is Dead, Then My Butt showed up. That was a cool episode. Malini Agarwal, also probably better known as Miss Malini, showed up on Absolutely Right. It's just been an absolutely gangbusters week in terms of the kind of guests we've had and the conversations we've had on the network. Please do check some stuff out. And with that, we hope to see you again next week.
Namaskar, dear Bandhu. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. These are truly challenging times, and in these times, we need hope. Do take time to listen to my podcast, Begin the Journey. Available on IVM Podcasts, website, app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, there is hope because there's one life and we are alive.